nerds.
We're just doing metallic gold workup. Right. So I'll get magnesium, rich gold, and bright gold. The simple process here is really easy, right? If you this is again, if you don't want to use opaque colors and you're not comfortable with glazing, then we're just going to start with magnesium. Magnesium lays a good shadow but keeps a metallic feel because it's a metallic paint, obviously. So don't worry that it's not called gold. A lot of people, it's surprising to me how many people are like, no, I said I want to paint gold. I'm like, yes. So start with magnesium or dark bronze, but I don't want to paint magnesium or bronze. I'm like, my God, people, do what I say. Because this gives you a good shadow base, right? But it maintains that your shadows will still have a good metallic shine to them. I'm just going to do the blade. Doesn't make sense. Gold blade, I don't know. It's fantasy. Go with it. Stop asking questions. We'll do a world where the gold is the hardest substance and steel is soft. So we'd make the handle and all the bits steel and the blade gold. That's our world. It's my book. Okay. So you can see magnesium strides that fine line between silver and gold. It has enough to be a base for a white metal, like silver. You can imagine putting silver over this. It's going to make the silver be a bit tarnished, right? But by putting gold over it, it already has that brownish yellow nature to it that just gives you a really good shadow for golds, okay? But now what I'm going to do is you can see that if I were to put, let's do this. If I have just rich gold, right? If I were to put rich gold over the top of that, that's a little bit too much contrast. So mix the two. Give myself a mix of 50-50, rich gold, right? And magnesium. So now I get a nice dark yellowish metal out of that. Remember, metallic paints are just paints. They mix and do everything you want like every other color you got. So you can mix them, glaze them, do whatever you want. Feather, every painting technique you can imagine. Some will be a little bit harder because of the solid contents, like airbrushing is always a trick to get right, but not impossible. You just got to get used to it, right? I'm going to feather this up on some of these upper surfaces here. Kind of stipple it around so I got some texture. Same down here. Yeah, so just a 50-50 mix of magnesium into rich gold here. And, you know, whenever I say 50-50, it's just eyeballing it, right? So I've got matte there and here. Feels good, about 50-50. Then when you've got that done, then you can either pull a little bit more of the rich gold into that mix. So if you're doing something that you really want to be deliberately detailed, you're going painting a display model, then just pull a little bit more of the rich gold into that magnesium mix. It's still going to be a little bit darker, but it allows you to move up step by step, right? And then you can kind of start finding your highlight area. Think of it no differently than any solid material you paint, right? You just want to find where your highlight would go and start painting that highlight area in, like such. Again, find my kind of stippled, just this rough texture of the face of the axe here allows me to just kind of stipple color around in my higher areas where I might find some brightness. Same thing down here, a couple of stipples there, grab these edges, and maybe right here where the blade comes out of the shadows. Right? So you get that look right there. All of a sudden you've got, you catch like this bottom edge and you see how it goes from the pure magnesium to the mix to the gold now coming in. Right? So you can blend metallics and get a really good thing. The transition isn't always evident because of the way metallics reflect, but you can see how much dimension I get out of this by just doing my highlights on it. Works really well. Okay. Then I go to just rich gold. So now I don't want to pull it into my mix. I just want to come out the back side of this puddle. Right. Now I've got the brightness of rich gold, and then I just start finding my edges maybe, depending on how bright you want it to be. right? And of course, you can adjust this as you need to get it to where it's as bright or dark. Leave less of the magnesium showing if you want it brighter. Leave more of the magnesium showing if you want it to be a much darker blade. Up to you, right? That's just standard use of blending. Here, I'm just going to put the rich gold kind of right in this shine area right in the middle there. I'm going to get it to go on the edge of these spots that stick out. Edge there, maybe a little bit here, a little bit right here at the end. Again, using my 50-50 method to where I'm only really getting my finger to kind of blend that a little bit better, right? So I'm only painting 50% of the area that I had it in before, but look at that shine spot I get up here now, right? I'm starting to use the same mentality I would for non-metallic metal. It's just not as visible throughout everywhere you turn the model, but that is a really, really good blade edge there. Then we go in with the bright gold, not mixing it into anything. Just like when you're painting non-metallic metal, you don't want to do blended color the whole way. You want to make a jump for your brightest highlight. And then we just catch this brightest edge again, which is kind of right here in the middle. Bring that over a little bit on that edge, a little bit over this way, and then right in the middle of where I painted that rich gold, come in with the bright gold, and then bring it along the ridge here at the blade, but not the whole time, just kind of right in the middle there. Maybe hit a couple of these edges again. And then maybe it's just this littlest part of the tip here. And you can see the bright gold right there, sitting inside the rich gold that extends outside it a little bit into the mix with the magnesium, into just the magnesium front. Notice how I haven't gone back with any of these other colors to do the face of the axe because I want my lighting direction, but I can now where I have like this nick. I can get that with the bright gold. I can catch a little bit of this right there. Got a nick over here too. So with my brightest color, I can do that and catch those nicks.
You can see where the light is too.
In the metal. And then I can do that everywhere I need to, right? So I can come down here if I want to add a nick that isn't really in the sculpt, but I just like the way that looks, then I can kind of do that right here, right? If I did want to pick out some of these dents and dings in it, I could just kind of stipple a little bit of brightness along in here to give it some dimension, right? And boom, you can do that. That could be your whole army.